Look at your life from outside. From outside, your life is just a story that you have been telling yourself. So many things have happened. You remember a few things, you piece together a narrative, and you hold on to it. I am this. This is my purpose. We have a story about everything. We have a story about how life works on the outside. We have a story about the eye. We have a story about the nose. We have a story about the human body in its entirety. We have a story about beauty. We have a story about good, bad. Everything is a story. It's a conceptual piecing together of things. But reality is just the same thing for everybody. If you're able to get to that presence, then your story is exactly the same as my story. Why did we fall into life? It's the same story. Unconsciousness, unawareness. What are we struggling to understand here, to connect with this presence? Everything becomes easy to understand the moment you drop your individual story and connect with that universal story. A man once asked his wise grandfather, "Grandpa, why is life filled with so many ups and downs? Why can't it just be smooth sailing?" The grandfather chuckled and replied, "Well, life is a lot like an old pair of shoes. When they are new, they are shiny and perfect, but uncomfortable. As they get worn in, they become the most comfortable things you've ever had, but they start to look a bit rough." The man, puzzled, asked, "But what does that have to do with the ups and downs of life?" The grandfather replied, "Nothing. I have always wanted to tell that story." Your story is a way of remembering what has happened in your experience. It is a memory lane. It belongs to you. That is why you cannot give this story to someone else. For someone else, your story is a part of their story. All conflicts of ideologies, conflicts of interest happen because of the clashing of these stories. My story is different from your story, and we are trying to reconcile and create one story, and there's contradictions. As long as you're able to see that this is just one small aspect of life, irrespective of how deeply I'm attached to my story, it is still a story. And who is the central player in that story? Who is the most important thing? What is the most important thing? It's your body. Take away your body, your story disappears. When the story disappears, the conceptual world you have created in your mind disappears. This is what happens at the moment of enlightenment. Everything is exactly there in exactly the same way, except for your story. Your story is gone. And because your story is gone, you don't know what's happening there. You cannot even say, "This is blissful," because that's again a story. You cannot say, "I experienced enlightenment." That's again a story. That is what you're actually longing for. You're longing for an experience that for a moment can take you out of this story and throw you into something real. Because your story is imagined. But you, deep down, are something real. The presence you're experiencing is real. This overwhelming feeling of wanting to connect with everything is real. Love, compassion is real. But they don't have a place in your story. In your story, they're only conceptual. You want to experience these things directly for yourself. That is the longing. Throughout your life, you've been hearing about the ocean. People have described it in as many different ways as possible. Won't you have a longing to actually see the ocean? And is that enough if you just stand on the shore and see the ocean? No, you would want to dive in. You would want to become a part of the ocean. You would want to explore it as much as possible. Now, that is the longing of the human spirit, to figure out a way to move from the conceptual storytelling world to the presence, which is the only reality.